Good evening, we're the Skids. We're from Dunfermline, which is in Fife, probably the craziest place on the planet. Get ready to rock and roll punk rock style! Go! Zimmer frame. Are you still with us out there in the wilderness? We're the Skids, and we're still at it after 40 odd years. Who would have thought? I always thought those immortal lines from The Who, I hope I die before I get old, meant something. What a lot of pish. We're still at it. We still feel young. We still feel 16 in a non-Jimmy Savile kind of way. Correct? Okay. This, my darlings, is Off One Skin. The Skids fell apart into a world of rock and roll misery like most bands do, amongst antagonism, bitterness, hatred, and that was only last week. But we got back together for this gig tonight, and it's especially for you that we've decided, with the help of Kofi Annan, to get ourselves back on the stage, because we all hate each other. But we wouldn't have it any other way. True in the rock and roll spirit. Do you think Keith Richards actually likes Mick Jagger? Do you think Bono actually likes The Edge? Do you think I actually like Bruce Watson? Who? This is Kings of the New World Order. So the Skids were very much part of our past, and didn't really think about it very much. And then suddenly, 15 years ago, exactly 15 years ago, I got a phone call from The Edge, from U2. And he said, how are you doing, Richard? And I went, not bad, how are you? And he said, we're down in Abbey Road Studios recording a song you wrote when you were 15 called The Saints Are Coming. And I went, why? It's because we're doing it for a charity record for all the kids who lost their musical instruments during Hurricane Katrina during those tragic events in New Orleans. Would you come down to the studio and make sure you're happy with this? Because it's going to be a charity record, and we're here in the studio with a band called Green Day, doing it together. Extraordinary stuff. 2 biggest rock and roll bands in the world, covering a song that was written in Dunfermline Library in 1976. Truly amazing. And it was a sensation, and suddenly people were interested in the people who wrote the song. So that was the moment we said, let's go and do some gigs again, and we haven't stopped. It's been just a magical experience. So here it comes. This is The Saints Are Coming, and I'd like to dedicate this to my favourite football team in the world, St. Pauli. This is The Saints Are Coming. I cried to my daddy on the telephone. How long now? Till the clouds are rolling, you come home alive well. But the shadow still remains since your down. Let's go. Thanks for tuning in tonight. We're the Skids, originally from the Royal Borough of Dunfermline, a place we're all very proud of. It's got a Greggs. What more do you need in this life? It's also got a history of really interesting rock and roll bands. Nazareth, the Skids, and that's it. Oh, sorry, I'm Big Country. I forgot about them, sorry. They were a minor band that came later. Yes, of course, and Faith Five from the Rosillos. There's also, what's her name from What's It? And what's his name from What's It? They were great. I've seen them in the queue at Greg's. Indeed, it's all the thing in Fife, I tell you that for nothing. We, as a band in the late 1970s, had an amazing string of hits. And you got to understand, we're not a band from a big cool city like Glasgow or a slightly less cool city like Edinburgh. We're from the rural part of Scotland in Fife. Bill Simpson here, the bass player, was the original member of the band. He probably set it all up. He was the leader of a notorious gang at the time called the Young Logelli Mentals. And music saved his life from a life of violence and crime. Bruce was in a gang called the Brucefield Bad Boys. He was also saved from a life of crime and violence by the beauty of rock and roll. So there's something to be said for it. But as I say, during that period in the 1970s, we had the great honor of being introduced on Top of the Pops many times by Jimmy Savile. I think Bill sat on his knee once. But that had nothing to do with the show. Anyway, we had a string of hits in the 70s, and this kept on coming. It started with Saints Are Coming, and then went into the Valley, and then we went into a different phase with the music we were creating with an album called Days in Europa, and we started working with a guy called Bill Nelson, brought in a new drummer, Rusty Egan, pain in the arse, but a good drummer. Unlike the guy we've got now, Mark Brzezicki there, great drummer, pain in the arse. It's something about drummers. Anyway, this is one of those songs. It was relevant at the time, and I think it's in a strange kind of way, 40-odd years on, it's as relevant today. It's called Working for the Yankee Dollar.
Never been. There was
how are you all doing out there? It's still the Skids. We haven't changed their name yet. Over in lead guitar, rhythm guitar, balalaika, cymbals, and tuba. And occasionally, boran and didgeridoo. We have Jamie Guitar Watson. Next to him, and his son's carrying him all the way, disguising all his mistakes, is Mr. Bruce Watson, the legend from Brucefield.
Hello, everybody.
Behind there, hiding in the shadows, as he likes it to be, because he's very young and handsome, and he makes us old guys look a bit wrinkly, is Rory Watson. Don't put any lights on him. Rory Watson. Sorry. Well, I'm sorry about that. That was a Freudian slip. Rory Cowison. A damn fine musician and fine chap. And behind there on drums, wearing that great St. Pauli hat, hiding behind the mask, protecting himself from the halitosis of Fife, is Mr. Mark Bazicki. And here he is, the legend, the one and only. This is the guy that at the Skids audition, when I went there to try and join this band, he said to Stuart Adamson, "Stuart, that guy's a wanker. He can't dance and he can't sing." And Stuart Adamson said, "Brilliant, we've got a singer." And to this day, Bill's never changed his mind. Oh, you'll pay for that later, pal. Yeah. Yes, and Bill is a legend, and he remains so. He's the only remaining member of the young Logelly Mental, strangely enough. I don't know if you've been reading the papers about what happened in Logelly, but if you have, you'll know what I mean. Yes, indeed. So we try to move the Skids on during the different phases of our short life and try and progress the sound. And when we got to our third album, The Absolute Game, we decided to focus once again not on keyboards and doing things that were more stylized, but back to the absolute core of what the Skids were about, which was Stuart Adamson's amazing guitar playing. And that's what we focused on in that album. And I think we also tried to give it a kind of more of a Scottish vibe without it becoming cheesy. So hopefully you don't think this is cheesy. This is Hurry On Boys. Shilts for free.
Hurry on, boys, hurry on, boys.
Hurry on, boys, so we can see.
Hurry on, boys, hurry on, boys.
Hurry on, boys, oh, daddy's gone.
Hurry on, boys, hurry on, boys.
Hurry on, boys, 'cause boys are strong.
Hurry on, boys, hurry on, boys.
The clown is here, please make way.
Hurry on, boys, hurry on, boys.
The clown is here, come in to stay.
Hurry on, boys, hurry on, boys.
The clown is here to make nights long.
Hurry on, boys, hurry on, boys.
The clown is here while daddy's gone.
Hurry on, boys, hurry on, boys.
The boys out there, the child has ran. Daddy didn't understand. Lucky man, lucky. Child has ran, your child has ran. shows for free.
Hurry on, boys, hurry on, boys.
Hurry on, boys, so we can see.
Hurry on, boys, hurry on, boys.
Hurry on, boys, well, Daddy's gone.
Hurry on, boys, hurry on, boys.
Hurry on, boys, cause boys are strong.
Hurry on, boys, hurry on, boys.
Boys out there who shout and slam. Anything can understand. Lucky man, lucky. Children's when your children's when. Thank you for clapping at home. It's a bit strange doing this with no audience. The Skids are a band that really need to be playing live in front of people. But that's going to come back. And we're going to share great stories together about what we did over the last year of this absolute shit show we've been in. And we're going to come out of it better, stronger, older, in Bruce's case. There's been a lot of messages coming in tonight, people saying, Jobbo, what's with the movement, dancing kind of thing? How do you do that? And I go, well, the trick is this, and learn from the master. Don't listen to the drums. And you'll definitely dance out of time, and it'll give it that kind of avant-garde David Bowie kind of vibe. And it looks like it's intentional, not the fact you're just a shit dancer. So what about that, yeah? It's art, yes. It's an expression of my joy at being able to play these songs tonight. Who cares if it's in time or not? Eric from Inverness. You Highland dancing wanker, you. Anyway, on a more serious note, towards the end of Days in Europa and before we started work on The Absolute Game, I disappeared from the UK, went to live in Berlin for a wee while. And this is one of the songs I wrote when I was there, based on some of the experiences I had there. It's an amazing time in that city, surrounded by the wall, and it was a pretty crazy time. That was 1979. Anyway, this was a song, a lyric that was written then, and it's called A Woman in Winter. content of the Skids songs were about taking a gamble with life and really going for it. And I think that idea came from a lot of different places, to do with the fact that we didn't expect to be around for that long, so let's just go for it each time. And we were surprised each time by the success of it. One of my redeeming memories of this song we're about to play is a thing we did called Skids for Kids. I know that sounds dodgy, but it wasn't meant to be. It was something, a lot of the venues that we played in, I was too young as a singer to actually get into those venues, but I managed to get into them because I was a singer in the band. And a lot of the kids who followed us were really young, so we decided to get a lorry in every town we played in the school break at a school. We checked it with the headmaster or headmistress, and we played on the back of a lorry to a bunch of kids during the lunch break, about 6-7 songs. And it was an amazing experience because you saw the kind of how startled they were that we were there, and they'd seen us on maybe Top of the Pops the night before, and here we were in their schoolyard singing these songs. And that was their first experience of rock and roll. And a lot of those people have stuck with us from that time, you know, from the age of 12, 13, 14, and they've eventually got a chance to see us at last, which has been truly a fantastic thing to meet those people who had their first experience of a band then. So, and I remember playing this song to them and getting them to sing along with the chorus. And if you're at home and you're one of those people, sing along. It's called Circus Games.
Mission is a gambler.
nearing the end of this great, lovely, enjoyable evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is one of the songs that came towards the end of the band, but remains one of the best in my opinion. It's called Masquerade.
To the blood, holy to the high, masquerade, masquerade. There's in the sky, masquerade, masquerade. Let your back
oxygen for Mr. Jobson and a defibrillator. Good night. Thank you so much. Thank you.